Step one, where do you start?
So it begins.
So thinking about where to start actually comes down to a really simple question. It's all a case of supply and demand. So say, for example, you are a cheesemaker and you move to a country who are lovers of cheese and they just don't have enough cheesemakers. The chances are pretty good that you're going to get a job because there's a strong demand for cheesemakers and there's a small supply of those skills. The same goes for any country. All countries are diverse, and realistically in the UK we're strongly based around accounting and professional services, financial services, banking and technology, and also to a certain extent engineering. Now that doesn't mean if you study subjects outside of that you can't do other jobs. It just means that there is a lower demand for those jobs. There is a lower demand for those skills.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
And we really need to think about, is there a strong demand for the job that I want to do? If not, then maybe I should think about applying for other jobs. And the key question to think about throughout the entire application process, particularly when it gets difficult or you're doing things that you might not want to do, is, do you want a job or not? Very often I will speak to students and they'll say, yeah, but I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. And I say, do you know what? That's fine. Do you want a job or not? And they go, yeah, I really want a job. And I say, well, you're going to have to make some concessions. You're going to have to think that you might want to do things that you maybe is not your first choice right now, and then come back around to something, because the chances are you're not going to complain if you get multiple job offers if you have a choice. It's really going to take the fear out of it, the anxiety out of it, rather than kind of constantly that seeking desperation, thinking, what do I do next?
First, you need to calm down.
So where I want to start with this is, and this is all super simple, and I'm going to always signpost you to links where you can go and learn more about this, is we start with the Graduate High Flyers report from 2020, which is the biggest report for graduate jobs for Times Top 100 companies, which essentially are the biggest employers in the UK for graduates. Why do we start there? Because we want to model the biggest companies, because that's kind of going to give us a good idea of where the demand is. When we look at this, what we find is, first of all, the biggest demand. So for the vacancies for 2020, and of course this is going to be impaired somewhat post-COVID, the biggest demand was there were over 5,000 jobs in accounting and professional services, 2,000 jobs in banking and finance, 2,000 jobs in technology, 1,800 in engineering and industrial, and over 1,600 jobs in investment banking and just over 1,000 jobs in law. Because as an international student, you can't apply for public sector or armed forces because it's restricted by nationality. So when you're thinking to yourself, where should you apply? Where should you start? Realistically, if you want the best chances of success, you want to start in those biggest industries. And we will also have down below this video, you'll be able to download the Graduate High Flyers report and also Times Top 100 employers, because this is a really good place to start. Now you could say, oh, well, I don't want to do that, Mike. I want to do something else. That's fine. Just bear in mind, these are the biggest employers in the UK. They've got the highest demand for graduates, and therefore they're the most likely to employ students, whether international or homegrown, because they want to hire the best talent.